Hi, I got a package in the mail. It's supposed to be a copy of the German M35 helmet. We'll see what it actually is. Well packaged, as you can see. And initial thoughts, it doesn't look too bad. It's heavy. That was my first impression, is it's very heavy. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. It has the rough shape. The liner looks all right. The straps are not too bad. Something I noticed on the straps immediately was the black on there is more of a felt than a paint, but they're leather. They look all right. The buckle is just kind of a stamped gray, kind of cheap looking buckle, but they're not too bad for the money. It has a very faint ET 60 something stamp. You can kind of see maybe. But the leather's liner, and overall not too bad. It has the right shape, the right kind of general color. It's got this weird rib. I wasn't going to do a wire basket, but I might. We'll see. And that's the kind of felt. You can kind of see it a little bit. But the first thing we need to do is it has that sharp corner. So I thought we'd take the liner out, and the little keepers are really thin material. So this is pretty easy to pull these out. Relatively easy anyway. And the liners, originals, would have had a manufacturer stamp somewhere on there. This one doesn't have anything stamped, so let's get rid of that corner. The easiest thing I could think of was a belt sander. So I just sanded it with 80 grit and then again with 120 just to round it out and kind of give a rough shape that was similar to the German M35. And then cleaned it up a little bit. I noticed wire brushing it didn't, none of the paint came off, so I decided to sandblast just the edges, and this paint is good. I don't know what kind of base it is, but it wouldn't sandblast off, so I sandblasted just kind of the wear areas and then decided to put it back together before I painted it. You can kind of see there's a black primer underneath, the similar to apple green. It's close to the German color. It's a little bit too glossy, but these keepers went in a little bit harder than they came out. But these are like $50, so they're not a real high dollar helmet. Like I said, they're very heavy though. Every time I handle this, the originals weighed just under 2.5 pounds, and these weigh over 3.5. So they're a full pound heavier. The steel is, I think these are between 1.5 and 1.7 millimeters thick, whereas the originals are 1.1, so a lot thicker. I had a leftover decal from another project, so I decided to throw it on there. And in hindsight, this didn't really matter because I just painted it anyway. I was hoping it would kind of leak through and you'd see the decal through the new paint. It didn't really work that well, but it's a water transfer, so I just slid that on there. And I know there's a glue for this. I didn't use it. I just did the decal. And that might have been part of my problem, but you'll see a little bit later. So first thing was to paint it. So I wanted to do some of the wood chip paint, which originally would have been sawdust mixed with paint and brushed on. So I just got some sawdust and spray paint and applied it like I did corking, where I just got it wet and then sprinkled some paint on. It was really windy and it's winter, and so this didn't turn out real well. I was fighting the wind, fighting the weather, and I got a decent looking texture. It's a little bit too aggressive, I think, just because it was hard to control the sawdust with the wind. But it worked out. I don't need to be too perfect because these would have originally been applied by people in suboptimal conditions. But after it dried, I kind of brushed off the roughest texture to anything that would stand up, and I brought it inside into the paint booth because it's below freezing outside. So I was gonna go for Normandy camo, so I usually do a base of tan for Normandy, but I did the green just for the wood chip. So I did a few stripes of a tan, and then after I got it roughly the right shape, I went back over it with a brown. Originally it would have been more of a red, but I didn't want to get a new paint for a cheap project. And I know a lot of people, the German helmet people, I'm not a German helmet person. I don't do European stuff really. And I know the guys that do are really crazy about the correct shades and the correct sheens of paint. This is just Krylon spray paint because, again, it's a $50 helmet. I don't really care. But if you're worried about it, you could get the right paint, I guess. Went back over some of the green spots because I kind of flushed out the green. So just to give it more of a camo look. And I don't think it turned out too bad. It dried better than it looks now. In a few of my other videos, people have commented that they want things to look distressed for some reason or aged. And I don't usually do stuff like that, but I thought, what the heck? I've already gotten this far. So I went up into the hills. It was starting to snow and the sun was just going down and it was cold. But I forgot to put the chin strap on, so I quickly did that while it was snowing on me. And then I decided, I've heard of several different ways to weather or to wear helmets. I just tucked it down a hill. I know people have said put it in your trunk, let it rattle around a little bit, or sandpaper or chemicals, or, you know, like put it in a tote with some gravel. This was an option. I think this might be a little bit too aggressive. Some of the dings and dents I got were really heavy. You can see it hits kind of hard. And I had a helper to help find it because sometimes it would get lost. But it doesn't look too bad. It's not as worn as I'd like, especially for how abused this thing got. It didn't really show it. So that's a testament to spray paint, I guess. And I had my wife's little 5-pound dog dragging a 3.5-pound helmet. It kind of worked. And that is how it turned out. So you can see half the decal went missing, and there's some pretty good scrapes and scratches, pretty good wear in the paint. It doesn't look old necessarily, but you can see the chin strap got chewed up. The vents have the paint worn off of them. The top's pretty scraped up. The front's not too bad. That little rivet keeper thing's dented, and there's a couple of really good deep dents in the front and top. Some of those big rocks it hit, I guess. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. The interior is basically the same, but that's how it turned out. So let me know what your thoughts are, and thanks for watching.